Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Aloha Pools and Spas Deep Dive Podcast. I'm your host, John Watts. We've got Brad Cook here again, and
we have Lisa. And how long, Lisa? Oh my gosh, can we start over? Because you're Bernard or Smith?
Bernard.
Lisa Bernard.
Yeah.
Okay. And we
Smith
don't have
is
to,
my maiden name.
Smith, yeah. So she's a hyphenator.
Yeah.
You don't have to start over.
People know me both.
Yeah.
People know me both.
We just talk. That's an interesting personal fact there. The whole,
yes.
The hyphenation.
Well,
Some
I'm glad
folks
it wasn't
do that.
3 or 4 more names because I was thinking, oh gosh, I don't know where to. Yeah. So which one to choose there? So
yeah. Most of my our customers know me as Bernard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Lisa is our, I guess you'd say she's our retail manager, but what she really excels at is training all the new people that work in Aloha in the retail department to be the service-minded individuals that Lisa is. And Lisa, for all of our customers that have had the pleasure to encounter the experience that Lisa provides when you walk into the store, they will know what we're going for when we ask Lisa to take on this job. So last year we had this odd kind of exodus of retail people that people that work the counter and water test and all, and so we quickly went into hire mode, and then somehow we came up with the idea that Lisa could come, and not really out of retirement, but you had slowed down a little bit, slow the roll a little bit. Mm-hmm. And doing the old Social Security thing.
Yes.
It's okay to say that.
I earned it.
That's right. You certainly did. And then, but we got in a position to where we were like, ooh, man, we need to train people fast. And those little semi-crises that come through life that really are kind of maybe put in place to prepare you to do something you should have been doing all along, maybe, because Lisa's she knows her water and she knows customer service, and so when we approached Lisa, she was gracious enough to come on in a full-time capacity. And you take a couple months off in the winter for the most part, and so that's worked out well for everyone. But Lisa came in and she got all 4 stores at the time, going on 5, operating with that same spirit and that same knowledge. So when you walk into any of our locations now, you have you'll get the same water diagnosis. You get what I hope to be the same Aloha spirit that when you walk in the door. So for starters, I can't thank you enough for doing that. But
my pleasure.
Even leading up to that, the years that you've worked here leading up to that, I appreciate you for that. And you're a really important part of a team that makes this company what it is. So
I'm proud to be a part of it.
I'm glad you're all in. And if we had a lot of Lisas, we would rule the world. So, but take me back to the first year. When did you come into Aloha?
I believe it was 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 2015. And I remember walking into the store and didn't really know what it all entailed. But I remember walking down and looking at all the chemicals, and I thought, how on earth? I remember asking one of the associates at the time, I was like, how did you learn all this stuff? It was very, very overwhelming.
Right.
And so with that being said, that's what I tell the new employees. Don't let it overwhelm you because you'll learn it. You know, I learned it, and it takes time, and it does take a lot of studying. So over the years, between the courses that you've sent me to, self-studying, looking at products, researching, it's taken a long time to get that knowledge. But it has paid off for me, and it helps me
Very much so.
to also educate the other associates that we have, the new ones, and give them at ease. And then I like that aha moment whenever they finally get it.
Right. And even customers, when you walked in to the store, you saw all those chemicals. So you could imagine if somebody, let's just say somebody buys a house with a pool and they don't go through our training, they walk in and they see that, all those chemicals, and they have to have that same intimidation to some extent.
They do.
So we need to be ready to put them at ease, and and get them on a program that's easy for them, and that they know that they can count on.
Yes.
And when I know we're working on a new water testing system for this year, and you seem to be pretty excited about it.
I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, with this application, all of the stores are going to be able to see all water tests, because Aloha, as everyone knows, is spread out throughout several states. So whenever there's water testing, say at Marion, and they have a question, or a customer has a question, any of the other water specialists can dial in and help. They can pull up their water test and see it right there. Right. Another thing that I really like about this program is that our service techs and our construction people will be able to do water tests on site. And then whenever they get the results through their app, it automatically sends it to the store. Now, granted, they can actually analyze the water there on site, but if they have any questions, then they can call one of our locations. We can pull it up and then give them some guidance there.
So if one of our guys is out in the field and they test it, do they log in as a kind of an admin type that where they can say, this is John Jones' pool and it's this size, and so automatically it goes to their file? Is that how that works?
Yes. What it is, so if they're at Brad Cook's house, and all his information about his pool, what kind of sanitizing system that you're on. So it's going to have all the important information that the water test for it to be properly analyzed is already going to be in there. So whenever they do take that water test, it's going to have the gallonage, and it's going to tell them, what their pH, their alkalinity, which that's one of the most important thing. I tell them that's the host of the party. Keep those two happy, and the rest of the pool is going to be happy. So they can either read it there. Or if they have any questions, then they can actually reach out to one of us at the store, at one of the specialists at the store.
Wow.
And help that way.
Yeah, I mean, I've been hearing bits and pieces about that, so I just got chill bumps listening to that, because I'm thinking about how helpful that's going to be to everyone. Ultimately, it's about helping the customer, but helping us to help them.
Yeah, and another great thing about it too, the homeowner can actually get on it's called the home version. We have the pro version. If they get that app, and it's a free app, so whenever they do their water testing, that information will actually flow to us too. So they can either read it off of there and get some guidance that way, or they can call us and say, hey, Lisa, this is what my water test looks like. Can you give me some guidance? And we're more than happy to do that.
Does it keep historical data on that app as well? So if they want to see over the course of the last, several weeks or summers or however it is, they can always, kind of like a medical record.
It is. You
go back and look and see, I had the same problem last year this time. What did I do?
Well, and sometimes that happens. If we're kind of creatures of habit, and so is the weather kind of a creature of habit. So if something happens after 4th of July, like I remember a long time ago, black algae was a thing.
Yes.
After the 4th of July, it just seemed like it was, for whatever reason, black algae is really hard to get once it sticks to a pool,
Yes.
it's hard to get it killed off. And you know, and anything like that, you can kill the top of it. But if you don't get underneath it, if you don't get between it,
Yeah.
if you don't get it off the surface, you're going to have a harder time killing it. And so, yeah, but and something like that. But so, what to your point though, you can, you can do that, and that's a good. I mean, that's a feature I didn't even think about. Yeah, see what you're.
You said something that intrigued me there for a second, and you're saying that black algae happens around the same time every year. Typically, does it still happen?
Is that still a thing? I mean, it could have been our systems, or maybe we
And
weren't getting ahead of it, or something.
The reason I asked before you answer that is because one of the things I noticed moving back to Tennessee is that I could mark on the calendar based on when there's Japanese beetles, when there's horse flies, when there's like the environment.
A lot has to do with the environment.
Yeah, it all just works cyclically.
And every season, it's usually something different. Like one season, it may be everybody's having trouble with metals. And then one season, it's mustard algae. One season, it's black algae. So it's almost like a trend. And I think a lot of it has to do with the environment. Rain has a lot to do with your water chemistry. You can get a lot of unwanted bacteria in the water just from the rain because of pollution and things like that. But
in this rural part of the world, if it's like, how much pollution do we have in the air? But I guess,
you got to think about the clouds moving. Say they had a dust storm in Arizona, and as the wind and the clouds carry things from all over the parts of the world.
It makes
at least in the union. Yeah.
Right?
So it just depends on the weather. Hurricanes have a lot to do with it. We may be a long way off, but with all that rain that comes through, it's also carrying things that drops.
Well, you know what? I've never heard anything like that.
Never really considered how far. Because I do know, like in Africa, like their storms, affect the whole Atlantic system that eventually become the hurricanes that come over and hit. Let's say one hits the Gulf and then comes up here. So maybe we've got Nile dust.
There you go.
It's fascinating. But so and you said mustard algae. I remember coming through the store and hearing people have that mustard algae, and it's almost like you try to kill it, and then but it still kind of shows up. Like it doesn't really seem to stick to as much as it does just kind of lay around, or how does that?
Well, it almost looks. People confuse it with sand, and they'll think they think that they're losing sand out of their filter. Majority of the time, it's going to be mustard algae. Mustard algae, if you brush it, it kind of poofs up like a little cloud.
Okay.
Now,
I've seen that.
Yeah. So in order to combat that, one thing, you want to keep it brushed up, because if you let it set, I call it grows roots. It adheres to the liner itself, and then that's whenever it makes it difficult to get up. But the products that we use go in and break down the cell walls of it, and then shock it, and then we have to vacuum that out manually out on waste.
And what is that product that we use for that? Is it a certain? Is it called mustard algicide, or
it's called Algae Defense, and that's geared for mustard algae. It's a zinc product, which will break it down.
And it's a little known fact that mustard algae is caused from when you grill out next to your pool and you drop hot dogs in it.
Maybe that's what it is.
I've never heard that one.
Then you can have the northern spicy mustard algae.
You might have more phosphates in that than you would mustard algae.
It could have been hot dogs that have been eaten in Kansas. That got up on the cloud
Right, yeah. They travel on the clouds and then fall. I didn't mean to get us that far off.
A lot of times mustard algae, and people don't understand this, is like, say you go to the lake and you've got your swimming suit on, your shorts on, that sort of thing. Well, normally people just hang it out to dry. Well, that's a lot of people pick up mustard algae in the lake, and then whenever they go swimming with the same suits without them being washed, now they've introduced mustard algae into the pool.
That's a thing. People don't wash after that.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day where we used a lot of Baquasil, there was this pink something that would get in the water, and it was really traced back to the people
That
because
pink
you
water
have to
slime.
ask. I mean,
Is
if they had
Baquasil
it-
still a thing?
It is. It is. You know, I don't know where you are with Baquasil. I think it's good for above ground pools and for sand filter pools where you don't mind to change your sand out frequently. And you know, the thing great about a Baquasil pool, it's not uncommon to see a 15-year-old pool liner
Right.
that looks almost like new because it had never had any bleach of any kind whatsoever in it. However, that you gotta watch your numbers there because you could spend all of that liner money, that new liner money, on Baquasil.
On the product.
So because people may, and then sometimes if you don't keep your sand clean and you don't, sometimes it's a little more work to make that happen, and especially reviving a pool, and that's where I am about it. And I'm all about the customers, like the margins are good on it, and the way it saves a liner is good. But sometimes I think it's more work than it has to be.
There's a little bit more maintenance to it, especially whenever it comes to the sand. You really need to do a backwash filter cleaner on it. And I always recommend it at least once a month, and for sure do a deep clean on it in the beginning of the season and at the end of the season before you close. So it is a little bit tricky with the sand because of the product. It is a good product. pH doesn't affect its sanitizing ability. So, like chlorine does, it's one of the real reasons to keep the pH neutral where it needs to be.
Right.
And another thing, it does make the water soft. People that don't like the smell of chlorine, that would be another good one. And I do have some customers that have autistic children, and they don't like the smell of chlorine, and so Baquasil is a good fit for them.
I got you. Yeah, that's I never really realized that. So I could see how anybody that has has that situation would really, it'd be worth it.
Especially
if
if they
it was
love the
extra.
water. I mean, that
for
would be, the people out there that, they may know someone or have a family member. And if that's the thing, come to Aloha and let's put you on some Baquasil for them.
There you go. And I will also say, John and I have talked about this. John is getting a swimming pool education every podcast or every video that we make. But a lot of our customers come in, they don't want chlorine, but they've got a salt pool.
Yes.
They don't have chlorine, but we all know here now, and John
Yes.
knows now that it is a chlorine pool.
It is a chlorine pool. You're making the purest form of chlorine because it's sodium chloride. That's what salt is. And so then after it goes through its electrodes, after the water goes through the sand filter and cleans out all the debris, and then it goes and sanitizes, and you're getting the purest form of chlorine, which is a great thing. I always say it's kind of like making your own wine. You're making your own chlorine, so you're saving money.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to add salt to make more chlorine. It just returns to salt once it's done its job, and then once it goes back to salt, then it turns back into chlorine again.
Correct.
So it's really neat thing. But a lot of our Aloha people have pools, and a lot of our Aloha people have ditched their salt systems for Lisa's formula, and a lot of our customers have adopted Lisa's formula. And I don't know that it, if you're the originator of it or what, but tell us about MPT and Endure.
Oh, music to my ears. I love it. I remember we had this product that was sitting, and this was years ago whenever I first started, and I was like, what is that? What is that? Well, over time, I got to researching it, and I started using it. Let's start with the MPT, which is my favorite. MPT is a multi-purpose tab. That's what that stands for.
Right.
So you've got your chlorine, you've got your algicide, and you've also got a clarifier.
All in one tablet.
All in one. And the way I put it to our new customers is you got your chlorine for your sanitizing, you've got your algicide to combat algae, and then you got your clarifier. I call him the trash man. So as your chlorine and algicide are in there, killing the bacteria and things we don't want in the pool, then the clarifier picks it up and takes it to the sand filter and waits for you to backwash it out.
Very good point.
And it's also got that clarifier makes your water pretty and sparkly, but then if you top it with the Endure, I can't say enough about this as I've been going and doing schooling for the new customers. 9 out of 10 will actually get on Endure after I tell them about it. What the Endure does is it takes the carbon dioxide out of the water and it inhibits the algae to grow because it needs to breathe like we do. And once you put that Endure in there, it stays in your water. It's not something that you have to do weekly. So if you wanted a pool sanitizing system that's very low maintenance, I would recommend that all day long. It's got a clarifier in it as well, and it makes the water so soft and sparkly. It looks like diamonds are sparkling.
So the Endure so you have 2 clarifiers in this system.
I've got 2 clarifiers, yes. So they're all working together.
And the tablet has a clarifier.
And the tablet has a clarifier too. And that water feels so soft. It's very good for even people with really dry skin. Like, we have elderly people that do aquatic therapy and that sort of thing. And it doesn't dry their skin out like just straight up a chlorine pool.
So the neat thing about a salt system is the water feels softer. Now, this is a chlorine system that has in your chlorines, you have an algicide in there and a clarifier. We've covered that, but the algicide in there is probably more act as a preventative.
Yes, an algistat.
It doesn't have any oxygen in the water. That's right. That's what you said, right?
Right.
I mean, that magical combination there that all the Aloha people, I don't know that anybody's still on a salt system anymore because of the MPT tabs.
Right. And the Endure.
I was over at a semi-in-ground last summer, and we were going to do a video like how to take care of a how to operate the pool on a semi-in-ground pool. And the lady was talking about you, and she's talking about how she loved her pool. And you'll know her if I'm horrible with names, but she was saying that she loves her Endure and MPT, but the story was that she had some of her neighbors come over and get in the water, and they're like, "What is this?" So evidently, and I've not been in, full disclosure, been in a MPT Endure pool that I'm aware of, but the neighbors there was a noticeable difference. I don't know if both of them could tell or the lady could tell. Sometimes I think women's skin or ladies are a little more, I don't know if it's more sensitive or dry or if they're just more aware of it, because I don't know that my hands are dry until it cracks and starts bleeding so much. And probably if you look, my hands are probably really dry right now.
Yeah, we don't know about lotion like women do.
And so, and this stuff helps you to get out of the water and not feel like you need to go shower so quick and lotion up so quick. So you don't have to go into a combative routine when you get out of the water. Is that a fair thing to say?
That is very fair to say. And also, whenever you're swimming, the water, I tell the ladies, I said, almost feels like rose petals rolling off your skin. But just whenever you're swimming, it just feels so soft and soothing. I mean, I can't say enough good about it.
Yeah, and so you have it in your pool.
Of course.
Go without saying there.
And I do a lot of traveling. So I don't have time to do a lot of maintenance on my pool. It's kind of like a plumber with a leaky sink.
Right.
So, and that's another good point for people that don't have a lot of time or really don't want to have to do a lot of maintenance on their pool.
Right.
Because once you get that Endure in there and you get your pH balanced, there's other benefits to it. It keeps your pH from bouncing. It keeps it level. And it also helps keep the chlorine in. Of course, it's got cyanuric acid. I forgot to mention that in the pool,
Right.
the stabilizer, if you will. I call it sunscreen for the chlorine to keep the UV
Right.
rays from pulling it out of the water so quickly. But with the Endure 2, it also helps hold that chlorine in. So whenever you put your tabs in the skimmer, a lot of times people say, I just put 2 or 3 tabs in there and now they're gone. This is a good time when you want to test your water, because you don't necessarily, just because your tabs have dissolved, doesn't mean that you need to add 2 more, because your chlorine level's still where it needs to be.
Right.
So there will be times that I can go after my MPT tabs are gone. It may be a week before I have to add any more, or longer.
Because of the
Because of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the stabilizer keeps the chlorine from leaving.
Yes.
And then if you're gone, you're not introducing, sweat,
Right.
body oils and things, anything for it to have to combat, then it's kind of easy on that. Your chlorine is staying in there, your clarifier and your
Yes.
algicide is in there.
Yes.
And so I didn't realize that you can go with a week sometimes
Yes.
without even adding.
Yeah.
So tell me, kind of like, you've got what, a 13,000-gallon pool?
No, 15.7.
Okay. So, and that's close to the average size pool. So tell me kind of what is the upkeep on that? Like, what do you do, and what's your routine? Do you have like a Sunday morning I do this, or Sunday evening I do this kind of routine, or what?
It's usually and that's funny you said that. Usually it's on Sunday, because I travel. I'm home on the weekends, and so that Sunday's my day to go out and sit out and enjoy my pool, and that's whenever I'll do my water testing and look and throw my cleaner in or whatever it is I need to do. But you'll be amazed how much money you'll save on chemicals. You have just a little upfront money whenever you first put your Endure in. But you'll be amazed how much money you'll save from pH, having to lower your pH, adding chlorine, having to shock it, because you don't have to shock it so much. I don't want to get too technical, because you're not building up a whole lot of the combined chlorine. That's where the chlorine has bound to the bacteria and holding it, waiting for it to be taken to the trash. Let's put it that way.
So your system also saves money compared
Yes,
to
it
other.
saves a lot of money. I worked 2 seasons. I had bought my chemicals, and I still had chemicals left enough for the next year.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's that good.
Well, and that's the thing that I guess this may be sounding like a little bit of a sales pitch, and we're trying not to do that. But I guess I'm going to just stop and say, this podcast is brought to you by
But
Lisa's
proprietary blend.
exactly. But people think people sometimes will do is they'll call in the spring when they're getting ready to buy their chemicals, and they'll say, "How much is your shock?" And then we'll tell them. And if we don't do a good job of educating them, they're going to say $5.99. Well, I can get that anywhere in the world for $2 or something like that, and they just don't have any idea, because if we don't do a good job of explaining that, which nobody wants to take the time to listen, but what they will find out is if they do come in and listen to you,
yes,
that we're probably the cheapest place in the world
Yes.
to buy, as opposed to anything online, or as opposed to the people who set in the big box that they set the boxes out there. And that's all because you don't overdose. You don't put stuff in that kills the life of your liner. I mean, it's just, we know, and getting the word out to everybody, is kind of our lifelong desire to do. But we're probably the cheapest place in the world to buy chemicals.
Yeah.
So back to the show.
and the reason for that, Brad, is because the strength of our chemicals, whenever we do a water analysis, we base it on our chemicals and the strength of our chemicals.
Right.
So, and I'm not knocking anybody's product, but like you said, we want to educate you. We have them come in and say I'm going to use it in very simple terms. Say they need 2 pounds of shock. Well, they've gone to a big box store and they bought their chemicals. Well, I'll ask them, what they need. It's like, okay, they've got their chemicals at home. And I said, okay, well, what kind is, what do you have there? And then they will tell me. So then I have to recalculate what they need to put in. So because of the strength of ours, our shock, our turbo shock is 78%. Versus the other ones are anywhere from 58 to 64. So instead of them putting 2 pounds of shock in, now they need to put like 4. So you're having to double it. So you're not really saving money. So if you spent $5 here and $6 for ours, and that's not the prices, I'm just making this up. So you got that's $12. But if you have to put 4.
Right.
$5, that's 20. So you're not saving money.
So I'm going to make an unhinged analogy here that I'm thinking of, but it's reminding me of this. Have you guys seen this show Breaking Bad?
Of course.
Well, this makes me think of Heisenberg's formula and it being more pure.
Yes.
And it being a better product.
Right.
You know, than the stuff on the street.
Right.
And you know,
Right.
and
that's
so
what we're trying
I
to
know
do
that
is
I know that.
We're trying to get people hooked on our
Right, yeah.
Well, it's the same with algicide too, because people will come in and they put this algicide in. They come in and they'll say, "Lisa, why is my pool so bubbly?" Mm-hmm. And it's because there's a lot of detergents in the lower end of the.
Well, and speaking of that, going back to that shock, that 58% of that 40, I've even seen 20-something%
Yes.
active ingredient in there. People don't really realize the inactive ingredient is kind of what the chlorine attaches to, and then it goes into your water as a dissolved solid, and then so it has to filter out. So it's just people don't have any clue sometimes what they're really getting.
Yeah, and they fill a lot of stabilizer cyanuric acid in them, so it raises your stabilizer.
Which is good to a point.
To a point.
And then it's bad because you got to dilute your
Yes,
pool
because it's there
you gotta
to
drain your pool out. So.
It is there to protect your chlorine, but if you get too much, it smothers it. It can't get out and work. So it looks like you have a chlorine level, but it's not doing its job to actually sanitize the water. And the only way that you can get rid of it is by water dilution, and that losing some water and putting fresh water in there.
You mentioned the bubbles, the like bubble bath type stuff.
Yes.
What causes? Because I remember getting in my pool, when I was a teenager, my family's pool, and there was something that we changed or did, and then if you splash around a whole lot, it's almost like a bubble bath. It makes so much.
It would be your algicide. That's their hamburger helper, if you will. There's a lot of detergent in it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like a surfactant. Is that that's such a thing?
Mm-hmm.
The hamburger helper.
I call it. I like to use a lot of analogies,
Right.
especially
She's
with
the queen of analogy. You over analogy. Analogy there.
Well, it just makes it easier for the new pool owner to understand things
Right.
if they can kind of visually see it. Because if I talk chemical all the time, it's kind of like going to a doctor and they give you all these medical terms. It's like, put it in simple form.
Right.
So then once I do that, then it clicks. And then once it clicks, I got it. If I tell them an analogy how it works and what it's going to do.
So with all these analogies, basically what we've learned today is if you're on meth, you should try Ensure, and I know it's indoor. I'm just messing around, and then eat while you're eating hamburger helper.
Yeah,
That's what I got out of all this. So it's too early. I need more coffee.
Change the subject. What's your favorite pool cleaner? I know that you're also a fan of automatic pool cleaners. And you seem to carry the lion's share of the knowledge of pool cleaners around here. So what are you feeling like on pool cleaners this year?
Our BeatBot is my favorite now. It used to be another brand that we don't carry, but I was introduced to the BeatBot last season, and that is amazing. It does a great job. It will clean the bottom of your floor of your pool. It will clean the sides, and it also floats up and skims the top. Ooh. I mean, it's whenever its basket's full, it'll come to the side of the pool for you to take it out to clean it. It also comes with an app, so that way, if you're like in the house, it'll come across the app, and it also has a map, and it tells you where he's cleaned. It maps out your pool. Yeah. It's an amazing product. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, and when she says worth it means it's expensive.
Yes.
But you can program it to just skim if you want to, or just do the floor, or do all three. I think it's
It's like having a little pool guy.
Yeah, well, you have more time to enjoy your pool instead of working on your pool.
Right.
Let him do it. Yeah.
And just so everybody knows, these questions are not written down anywhere. It just came out because it came out when y'all went on that tangent there. I was thinking, I got to change this. I got to change the direction. No, but I was thinking, no, she's the expert. So I didn't know what her answer was going to be. This
Yes.
was not because I know that you've liked some of the plug-in robots in the past. But
Yes.
yeah, I wondered if you would say that.
Yeah, I love it.
Mixed reviews on it. Jamie likes I think it's the Cosme or one of the plug-in cleaners that we've had. And so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're working on a question that we ask all of our podcast guests, and right now we're playing around with this question, and it is called.
So basically, what it comes down to is if you had no financial worries at all, all your money's no object. You are
Right.
taken care of. Okay, be it the lottery or whatever windfall, you're good.
Okay.
What would you do with your life?
What would I do with my life?
Instead of working in Aloha or whatever,
And
or if this is Aloha's my passion,
No.
but what would you do?
Of course, Aloha is my passion, but what I would do if I had that kind of time and that kind of money, I would reach out and help others. And that is the honest truth. I would want to go and people that are truly in need, not the ones that are lazy and just don't want to work. And I'm just throwing it out there being honest, but people that are really struggling and trying to make a way to help them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you. Would you maybe go at least try to find some people in Italy that needed some help? Or France that needs some
Well,
Greece?
the way the technology is, I could probably go anywhere and help anybody,
I love that. That's quite noble, but I'm thinking, well, I would probably
I would like to go to Italy. I would like to go to Spain. I'd like to go to Italy.
I'd really like to help the
Same.
poor,
Yeah.
impoverished yacht owners with their pools that are on their boats, and since it's my skill,
That's right.
I'd like to help them keep their pools clean.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Lisa, I thanked you at the beginning, but I can't thank you enough. What I love about what you've done for us in the past couple of years is get all these kids trained to think like you and to understand water. And now with the new stuff, the new technology, you're going to be able to do it from anywhere
Yes.
a lot easier and have the quick visibility on it. So it's just going to be faster that we can take care of care of issues, take care of
and
customers
keep
and all that.
educating. There's always something to learn. I continue to learn, so that's the thing that I tell the. Now they've got one season under their belt, and they've got it down very well. But now it's time to escalate and get up there. You always continue to learn. Always.
Speaking of that, are you going to CPO instructor school, or do we have that worked out just yet?
Well, we are in the process of doing that right now. I've already got most of it. Yes, I'm going to be doing that this next season, not this season.
Right.
So
You're going to be doing it next season, or you're going to be teaching it next season?
I'm going to
you
be
think?
teaching it next season because we've already got everybody in place this season here. So next season I will be on board to be able to instruct.
So right now, John, we have to pay a pretty good price for getting our people a certified pool operator designation, which to me is kind of a good, right now, at least at last count, we had at least 30 in the company, 30 people in the company that had been through the course, CPO certified
Pool operators.
people, which it just means that every time that you contact us, there's a good chance that you're talking to a certified pool operator. So you've got a little sense, and now that with our growth and going into the new market in O'Fallon, Illinois, and Lisa's dedication to taking care of training our retail people, I just thought it'd be another step in
to have our own instructor.
Yeah, and since Lisa's kind of got a passion for that, I nominated her, and I appreciate you taking on that.
I just got to take a couple of classes. I really already know it because I've already gone through it for so many years, but I'll need to take those 2 classes and then take the test, and that's it.
Nice. You know, I'm C3PO certified. I've seen every Star Wars.
I actually almost like that. It's almost funny.
CPL, that is kind of cute.
Yeah.
It even looks like a little AI guy.
Hey, and he's, I'll promise you that he's seen every one of them, probably multiple times. I know the guy well enough to do that. Well, Lisa, I'm just going to say this, and we'll finish with this, that you are one of many reasons that we are what we are. And
thank you.
Thank you very much. I can't thank you enough for that. The idea that I want you to know that the idea that I want all our retail people to be like Lisa, I hope you feel like that's a compliment, because I mean that in the utmost manner, and I appreciate it. Well,
Thank you. My pleasure.
I owe you that appreciation. So thank you.
You've been good to me all these years. You watched me grow old.
You and me both. You've watched me do the same thing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Lisa. And with that, we're going to conclude our show here. Again, like, subscribe, comment below things you'd like to see, people you'd like us to interview, or you know, whatever you'd like to out of this.
Oh gosh, anything about any MPT customers? Comment below too. That's
perfect.
Huge. For you.
Yeah,
It's very
tell us about your
huge. And
experience.
Endure. Yeah,
Oh, right.
both of them.
MPT and Endure. Yeah, for sure.
Do that. And then, of course, like we say to end all of our shows, dive safely.
Yay.
All right, thank you.